Week again, where we're going to talk about marketing. It is Geek Speak, and we're talking today about search operators, why they matter, and how you can use them to improve your Googling. And so, of course, my name is Phelan Lewis. I work at Seymour Digital Media with Pip, and joining me today is
Rena Little from Littleworks Indie Media. I run a small agency in Vancouver.
Awesome. And so, and today we're going to be talking about search operators, and we're going to start off with what is a search operator? So what a search operator is like when you go into Google and you can do more than just type in pure text. You can also have something similar to you can have a little quotation, or you can have quotation marks around it, which will mean that I want these two words exactly together. So it's like phrase match if anyone does Google Ads. And then there's other really powerful ones of using stuff like in URL : and then the word. So that means that I want URLs that have this specific word in there.
So what you're talking about, just because this was new to me, how you framed it, search operators are basically the way that you organize the words that you put into the Google search in order to get specific kinds of results.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah, so it's, generally most people are asking questions to Google, but the way we're doing, the way you're using search operators is you want to find way more specific details of not just I want some bit of text or a video from YouTube. I want you can also, one of our favorite ones, Pip and I, is spying on your competitors using file type : PDF. So you can find your competitors' PDFs on their site, and you can, because they're always kind of listed, especially if it's WordPress, it's like one of the content URLs, but Google wouldn't serve it unless you said, hey, I really want to see the PDFs from this one URL. And so you can really do a lot of really cool spying on your competition. And we found all kinds of giveaways that they had on their site and all kinds of crazy stuff that if you know how to get the information out that way.
Right. And so other than spying on your competitors, what are the other reasons why someone would want to use search operators?
So there's definitely some of the interesting ones that I've seen. We're going to have a link to a blog post that I found super, super useful that just kind of blew me away of different ways of tackling it is you can find indexing problems. Say you want your own site and you're hey, did this update correctly? And then you could go check for specific pages on your site that you're I know this should be indexed correctly. And then you could see that it's not by using the from site put in your URL, and then maybe it's in URL SEO, and it's our SEO page that we thought was going to rank a lot higher. And so that way you can go and see are we actually indexing on this part? So that's so that stuff like that I didn't even think of oh yeah, that would totally make sense to check that part. And how would you go about that in this? It's definitely one that has a lot of opportunities there. And one of the other big ones I know that we talked about was guest posting opportunities. And we were talking about because you can find, if it's a certain type of site, you want to find all the people. Maybe you are going to become a food blogger and you want to know about vegan food blogs. And then you can select for content contains vegan food. And then you can also put in URL, and it will be something like guest post. And then so you can find if they have a page that's on their site where they specifically say, hey, fill out here if you are a vegan food blogger. Yeah. And so you can.
It just gets super narrow. It seems like it's way more narrow than how people generally use the search in Google. So you can get super specific and not get frustrated by having to wade through tons of material. And so it's practical when you're looking for things. But when we're organizing for them, are we organizing to have people find us through those specific searches, or are we doing it for other reasons?
That's a really good question. It's definitely one. I think that search operators are becoming more widely known by the general digital marketing community. So I think that you can definitely I wouldn't say keyword stuff, URLs or content, but like you can have specific keywords that will trigger in searches like that, where because you can search for like content on the page as well as like the URL, so you have a lot of opportunities for using specific keywords of like, you could get found in a general search, but also someone's looking to like really scoop up and scrape a lot of data from a lot of different people's sites. The other one is like say you're an influencer or you're doing some more marketing or PR marketing that way. Gives you really good opportunities to collect who is it that I even want to talk to, because you could just be doing more informational searches and then you start to organize like, oh, this person would be great for this type of blog post, and then start to collect more information about who's in your field. And also you can put yourself out there by having these specific pages that now that people are becoming more aware of it, that you can have a guest posting. Maybe you want to have people that are posting on your site, and this gives you a way for getting in front of those people.
Right. Okay. So what I'm hearing you tell me, because this is quite new to me, this would be a great thing to like create the spreadsheet and figure out how you're going to create a guest blog post strategy. For example, you could find your key people, you could figure out where you want to be, you can easily find the kinds of people that are looking for collaboration, which is super important, because I get a lot of those emails from random marketing agencies who ask if they can write blog posts for me, and I have ignored them for the first few years, and then more recently, I just started posting them because it's extra content for me, and I check, and it's on mark in terms of it's providing useful information for my readership, and then it's just an extra piece with extra SEO potential and extra everything. So I just decided to start doing it. I could not find anyone who told me that it was a bad idea. And then what I do is I check all of the outlinks, which they supply in the blog for me. I check to make sure that they're all in alignment, and usually they're fine. And so I've been rolling with them, quite frankly, and it's been actually quite helpful. One of the guest blog posts is actually ranking quite high for my site in my Google Analytics, which I thought was pretty interesting. And then, so my question for you then is that, and this is a little bit not pertaining to the operators, but more pertaining to figuring out a strategy to find guest blog posting, which maybe is a completely different subject, but is there anything that should be a red flag if you're accepting guest blog posts from people you don't know?
That's a really good question. So for me, I think that you touched on probably the part that I would be the most concerned about, which is Outlinks, because that is where you're going to, anytime someone's linking to someone else, you really need to keep an eye on it and really make sure that you're linking to quality stuff, because it works both ways, of both you linking to someone, and if you link to someone who's bad, Google does not like that. Of course, what you can do is, if you do find that and maybe it's relevant but you don't really like the site, you can always just tack on a little no follow, and you take you could say like, look, this is a link there. I do not endorse or promote what they have there, but it's still a way of like having it linked to them, and then it's still, maybe it's relevant, but you don't really like the site or something like that, and then, or there's some other reason. It's definitely an opportunity for you to kind of keep your own SEO rankings as clean as possible, because it can be dangerous.
Right. So I have heard that it can be dangerous, and I do have some little ideas about how I assess sites. But what is the criteria for you for an outgoing link to a site? What would you say? Definitely, hell yes, hell no, and what's in between?
For the negatives, those are definitely the easier ones to to ascertain. So, lots of pop-ups, lots of, Google does have a list of like, hey, don't, these are things that we do not. Yeah, they are clear that they don't like doorway pages. So you click on here and immediately goes like affiliate link right at the top to go somewhere else. They definitely don't like that. They like it to be load quickly, to not have a like ton of ads slowing it down, not have a ton of pop-ups that make it hard to like actually get to the
Yeah.
content.
Yeah.
They definitely don't like any of that, and so those are all the negatives that I would have about things to watch out for.
Right.
And most of the time, like when I'm looking at this stuff, I'm not so much looking for the positives. I'm way more concerned about the negatives, because the
Yeah.
downsides
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
just
For
so much
sure.
bigger that you just
Yeah.
want to keep an eye on that. And yeah, so that's definitely one of what I would watch out for. But this also, going back to what we're talking about with the posting page, you can have criteria of like, you can write your full criteria on a page specifically, and they can
Right.
submit for that. And so you can make it very clear before you even talk to them, or they talk to
Yeah.
you, that I will not accept people that have these, and I reserve the right to add a no follow link if there's spam on, if I deem that there's spam on a link that you've posted. And you can make it very clear what the conditions are that they would be promoting onto your site.
That's a really great idea. Actually, that's a really great idea. I'm going to put that up on my site this weekend.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I'm wondering is that sometimes I like to help out smaller companies or newer
Yeah.
companies, and I look at their sites, and they're fine. They're not brilliant, but they're fine. They're a little bit smaller, and I've heard that you always want to do outgoing links to bigger companies and things like that. What happens when you have a smaller company that you'd really like to support? Is it fine to provide a link back to them?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with like linking the especially smaller companies where you're partnering with someone locally, and you could see like, oh hey, I this would be a good match. You could have like a page where it talks about like, I want to promote local businesses, whatever the case may be, and link to them, and that definitely will help you and the other website as well, because any link, especially just a regular follow link, is that's what you're looking for in your SEO juice.
Great.
Yeah, and so the other one that reminded me of is the linking opportunities as well. That's another one that came up with the search operators when I was looking through. Is you're finding sites that like, you find one new content that you might not have found, and then this also gives you an opportunity to do a little bit of
Yeah.
outreach and then talk to them about that stuff. So you can find people that their content is, content contains, and then it will be like, I don't know, Google Analytics 4, and then you could,
Tools.
as we could say, then outreach to them and just be like, hey look, I wrote this really great post, we had these additional points, and it gives you an opportunity to get a link from them to your blog as
Yeah.
well. And so
Yeah.
that gives you opportunities to kind of find who's already existing content, and especially from bigger sites, this gives you an opportunity to start link building that way as well.
And it goes in the opposite direction also. I write a lot of listicles on my blog for a variety of reasons. And every now and again, I also get people who in my inbox who are like, I read this blog article. I think our tool would be a great addition to yours. And usually they'll give me a little free version to test out so I can actually because my personal brand is that I don't recommend things that I've never used before. That doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense to me. So they give me an account. I'll try it out for a while, and then we'll add it to our list if that works. So if you do have a tool or an app or something that could benefit from being added to people's lists, that's also a great thing to do. So it goes in both directions. So let's
Absolutely.
go back to the search. Now I want to go back to the beginning of when you were actually explaining the search operators. So
Mhm.
can you tell us exactly how we would work a search operator, what it would look like if we're looking for blogging opportunities or link back opportunities? What would we put into the Google search?
Okay, that is a really good question, and I will type out a little bit of text that will go after the
That's
fact. So,
perfect.
yeah, people have like a visual cue to go off of,
Yeah.
because like this medium isn't exactly perfect for like explaining exactly it. But what you would do is like, you have your Google homepage, and you click on a little search box, and then you would type in just the word.
Can we do a share? Can we do a share screen and do it? Do you want to do a share
Uh,
screen? Phelan?
Oh, we're doing this live. This is going to be a lot of fun.
I can do it. I don't mind. I'll take your
Okay.
directions and do it.
Okay. Yeah,
All
let's
right,
go
I'm
for
going
it.
to do this. Let's do this. I'm going to hit share screen. Boom, boom. Don't judge my messy desktop. All right, so here's our Google. Now what do I type in to find guest blogging post opportunities?
Okay, so what we would do is you would type so in URL, in all one word. Yeah, and then you would see how they've already given you a couple of ideas there. You could do we could do space, and then I guess like maybe SEO. Let's just go with SEO. Let's make this really simple.
In URL, and then do we do sorry, what am I doing?
Okay, so you do so let's go in URL : right for us.
Okay.
And then we're actually going to wrap those in quotation marks around those.
Right for us, or the whole thing?
The whole thing, and then it also needs dashes in between. Oh no, sorry. It's this is the fun of this. So it's got to be in URL : right -for -us, and then there's no space in that first quotation mark.
There's no space.
No space between the colon and the question. Yeah, and then before that, let's and so let's do space, and then let's do vegan food. Let's just go with
in quotations also.
No, we don't need to have this one in quotations unless you need those two words specifically together.
Okay. All right. Let's hit search and see what happens. Oh, look at that. So submit a post right first. Oh, this is brilliant, actually. Yeah. This is going to really help to get oh, this is great. This is perfect. Okay, for all the writers out there.
Yeah, exactly. And so what you would do is you would leave that in URL right for us, and then you just replace the vegan food with whatever your topic is that you're a writer for.
Yeah, so let's do Facebook marketing.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Look at that. Yeah. That's just amazing. So this just opens up so many opportunities. So, okay, so now we're on the other side of it, and we're going to write a post. How do we organize our posts so that it will come up for this particular search?
Oh, okay. So that one is one sec. Just bring you back on the screen here. Okay. So just to repeat that one, it's like you're trying to, now that you've got your blog post up there, you're trying to search for it now.
No, what we want to do is put up our Right for Us blog post and make sure that we're going to be found for that particular in that particular search.
Okay. That is real. So what I would do is you make sure to include in your URL to have make sure you have the Right for Us, because that's a really common way. There's other variations that you're definitely that they have of there was other variations you can have of contributor or guest post, or you might need to try a couple of variations on these. The other thing to do is that they might have there's another mode like how we did in URL. You can also do content contains, I believe. I'll have to double check that part, but it's in the blog post that we're going to attach. And so there's a variation. So it'll scan the page itself. And so you can have, hey, are you looking to become a contributor? Come right for us.
As long as you have the content. As long as you have the content spelled out in the actual blog, that's enough. Yeah, that's enough to do that. Because Google's combing all these sites and it's ranking all these things. And so this is a way that you could have a really easy way to do to set up multiple, make sure that you get found for multiple searches as well, because that's the other one that you want to have included as well. And you might want to have your keywords also in the URL, like how we kind of talked about
it would be right for us about vegan food.
Yeah.
You would
Yeah,
have like
exactly.
that example, and you would have that there if you're like your general topic. So you would make sure that you get found in those searches, because sometimes your content doesn't always get scanned, but the URLs do, because they'll hit the sitemap and then they'll scan all the URLs, and so for sure
Gotcha.
that the URLs are all scanned.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. That's
Yeah.
great. So what else do we have on our little list? Oh, for
Well,
PR. We were going to talk
yeah,
about PR. So that's
yeah.
another avenue where being able to do these searches will help. So tell me a little bit about what you were thinking of when you wrote that down, that note.
Yeah, so that one is one where it's really another really cool example is you can negative out sites as well. So you can put
Okay.
a little minus in front of a word, because in Google Ads, that's how you add negative keywords, is it's minus in front of it.
Mhm.
So this, you could do the same thing where the example that I read was, so in text, quotation marks, with quotation marks, it's SEMrush. So that's like an SEO tool. You're looking to find out mentions of them, but then you do minus site semrush.com. So you don't want
All
anything
right.
mentioning their site, but you want to know
Right.
if they get mentioned somewhere else. And so that way
Right.
you can go and just be like, okay, find me all the examples, because then you, as another SEO tool, can go in and be like, hey, I want to find out who else is mentioning them. Like you said, the listicles. This would be another great
Mhm.
time you'd find that listicle and be like, do that outreach. Then you would be able to say
Yeah.
like, hey, you have a really awesome list. Here, I'll give you a free account to try out, and then you can post it on your site, add it to the list. And
Great.
so, yeah, that's a really good one as well, about like really good PR opportunities to find there. And then you could also do stuff like in title, and then you could do stuff like review. So if people are doing review sites as well, because those are really big for getting SEO juice and making sure that they
Yeah.
link to you. This could be a really good opportunity for you to do that as well. And there's other really cool little operators as well that you can use, or capitalized OR in between specific words. So maybe the example that they use is SEMrush or Moz or Majestic, which are all SEO tools. So you may want to find out reviews about all three of them. So using the OR capitalized give you that
Right.
opportunity. Yeah.
Right. So okay. That's excellent. So there's lots of opportunity to start building spreadsheets. This is what I think I'm going to do this weekend. Is a whole
Yeah.
pile of spreadsheets
Yeah.
and get that
It's
strategy organized instead of doing little disparate pieces. I think that it's great to actually sort of figure out what your main spaces, where you want your main spaces to be, and then go after those ones first.
Yeah, exactly. And so you start to and the other thing is, I don't know this 100%, but my guess is that it's still ranking them. So Google's even telling you, this is the top ranking person, this is the second most, third most,
Yeah.
because it's still
Yeah.
Google ranking things. They're going to be probably using their own
Yeah.
SEO grading. So they're even kind of hinting at you like, hey, this is the top opportunity is probably talking to these guys. Like this is the pinnacle one that you could get. So it's
Right.
definitely a really interesting way to look at that, is like, they're even kind of telling you how the list should be going from number 1 to number 10. And so you can capitalize on that as well. One other one that I found really interesting that I hadn't even considered is internal linking of your own site, because getting out links
Oh,
is really,
right.
it can be hard, but you can go for your own site. And what they have is that they did it where you do site : and then your own website, and then you minus out the specific blog post that you did, or so you put in the exact URL, and then you look for in text : and then whatever it is that blog post is about. Like in their case, it's SEO tips. So now Google is telling you all the other pages on your site where you have those two words,
Oh, and
SEO
then
tips.
you can actually do your internal linking.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
that's brilliant. Actually, that's brilliant. And then you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
have to keep track in the spreadsheet. You just can do it.
Ask Google, because
And you-
Google's taking care of it
Yeah,
for
you
you.
just
So you're
ask
just
them.
like, hey,
That is
I'm going to outsource
hilarious.
this. Yeah.
That is hilarious. That is
Yeah.
so easy, because then you actually can just start your linking structure at any point. You just
Yeah.
start with the next blog post that you do, and then you just link it where you can, and then
Yeah.
you move on to the next one and you link it where you can, and you don't have to actually start from scratch and do
Yeah.
the whole site at the moment.
Well,
You
and
can
you don't
just
have to
add it.
spend all your time like going through each blog
Yeah.
post and trying to remember, oh,
Yeah.
this one was about that,
Yeah.
or I mentioned the text. Just
Yes.
get Google to scan it for you.
No more
Yes.
no more topic spreadsheets. I'm so excited. Okay,
Yeah.
this is great. Okay, I gotta go because I've got work to do now.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those ones that
I'm pumped.
yeah, you like leave it and you're like, oh, this is going to be kind of a boring topic of like search operators, and then I read about all these tricks. I'm like, oh, this is really powerful. Like this is definitely one where it's definitely, there's a lot that you can do with this, and there's there's I think 42 different operators you can use. So like, you notice how we've like been talking about mixing and matching them. Like there's all kinds of really powerful things of where you can get all of them together and then repurpose them for different tools to scan websites. And so it's it opens up a lot of opportunities for you.
That seems really great. I actually, even after our meeting on Tuesday about it, I wasn't super thrilled about having to talk about this because, first of all, it's new to me. Second of all, I couldn't figure out where my in was. Now I've got my in. Right now I've got my in, and I'm really excited about it. This is great. This is going to make life so much easier. This is good for the people out there. You know what this is good for? This is good for the people out there that are not great with following routine, with following spreadsheets, with seeing spreadsheets, looking at spreadsheets, all that sort of stuff. Like there are people like me in the world who are trying to run their businesses, and I like to think of myself as a painter. So I like to go and like make this section really nice and pretty, and then make this section, but they don't necessarily meet up at first. But when I can meet them up like that, when I can use something to meet them up, I get really, really jazzed. So that's great.
Yeah, it's definitely for anyone who's doing content. These really open up a lot of opportunities for you as well. Also for just getting ideas as well. Like why wouldn't you be able to like go not just negative out your own site and then find any time that someone's mentioned like SEO tips, then you could see how's Google ranking those ones. So you could start to see different marketing tactics in there as well, because it's always ranking.
And you can also take a look and see where the big gaps are in your own topic, because we actually we tend to rotate around the things that we like to write about and the things that are important to us from our perspective as small business owners. But what's really important is to make sure that you have, a whole a little bit of a wider net. Make sure you're getting all of those narrow topics with a wider net rather than wide topics on a post. You want narrow with a wide net. And it's because someone just pointed out to me just a couple of weeks ago that there is a major offering that I have that I haven't even put up on my website anywhere. And I think, if you did like a little audit of topics on your site, that would probably be a good thing every now and again.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Because websites, when you're doing the content game and you're just like going through and like you forget that like, did I even mention that I'm now offering Facebook ads? Like, did I like actually have a page on my site that's about that?
Exactly.
And then you could scan your own site and you're like, oh, I don't. Okay, well, I know what I'm doing next, and then you could add in.
Then are all of my blog posts on Facebook ads, DIY Facebook ads, pointing to my full service Facebook ad, because that's usually what happens. People try it out, they get fairly okay, and they realize the potential if you actually work with someone who's a professional.
Yes, we've definitely had that experience as well, as you might expect with Google Ads, that people go, okay, I've got a little ways, but I that you're not getting the full potential out of this. So someone's asking, what was your offering that you weren't?
Oh, funnels. Who's asking?
I don't. Yeah, I just see Facebook user in the app here, but
I decided not to put Facebook up today so that I don't actually set off the sound again. But I'll take a peek and answer that later. But funnels are the thing.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So it looks like we are coming up on our time right now. So again, this has been a super fun topic. If you guys have more questions about it, like I said, I will post the link to the blog post that really kind of opened up my mind to all the possibilities. Definitely highly recommend it. And once again, my name is Phelan Lewis from Seymour Digital Media. We focus on search engine marketing. And I was joined today by
Rena Little from Little Works Indie Media, a little agency in Vancouver. And I just want to make sure that everybody realizes that next week we're doing weekly and monthly social checklists with Pip and me. So join us then next week, same time.
Okay, awesome. Bye for now.
Thanks. Bye-bye.